I think the best way for him to break out would probably to get Wraiths of his own, some kind of air unit, maybe a drop of some sort. But it looks like Mind is moving out with his Wraith again. He's probably going to get Cloak up very soon. There is the second factory going up for Mind. Mind has a bunker there. It's going to be able to deal with any air that's trying to fly over the tanks. Mind's still getting a scout out with that barracks. I'm surprised that Fantasy hasn't taken that barracks out by now. Mind doing a very good job of keeping it alive. The barracks acts like a overlord pretty much for the Terran player. It's about the same speed and it gets about the same vision range. And looks like Mind is scanning Fantasy again, getting a lot of good information here with his scouting. But it looks like this is going to be a very tense standoff here. Each player has about the same number of tanks. This is kind of why I don't like TVT, to be honest, because each player kind of goes for the same thing, and each player kind of acts defensively. I mean, Terrans are such a defensive race anyway, and when you have both players acting defensively, it takes quite a while for games to end, and it takes quite a while for big battles to come up. I'm guessing we are going to see a big battle pretty soon, though. Looks like Fantasy is getting plenty of Goliaths out to deal with any Wraiths. And looks like Mind is finally researching something at his control tower. Hopefully that is the Cloak. Or maybe he has already gotten Cloak and is working on the upgrade to the... Well, looks like he didn't Cloak there. Got a extra shot there. And it looks like I think Fantasy might be trying to move out here. Or he's inching up a little bit. Ooh, getting a few shots off on that tank. It looks like Fantasy is playing a very good game here, knowing exactly where to put his tanks where he can get the maximum amount of damage here. But I think he's going to get maybe pounded here by Mind's tanks. Oh, Fantasy's tank's going down. Ooh, another tank going down for Fantasy. Not a very successful little push there from Fantasy to try to break out. Fantasy's going to have to come up with something a little bit creative to get out of this contain. Mind is very good with Terran mech units, and he knows exactly what he's doing here. He's going in with cloaked wraiths. He might be able to take out this dropship if he sees it. I'm sure he does see it. He definitely sees it by now. Ooh, this dropship might go down. This is going to be, oh, absolutely terrible for Fantasy. That dropship was filled with units. I'm not sure what units were in it. Probably a couple of tanks, maybe a tank and 2 vultures. But yeah, very bad luck for Fantasy here. Just Mind outsmarting him and outplaying him right now, acting aggressively, doing a very good contain. And it looks like Mind has some nicely placed turrets here. So Fantasy's he's gonna be hard pressed to get out of this contain. I think he needs to build up quite a few more units if he's going to think about pushing out here. He's losing tanks left and right, you see here. I do not see Fantasy being able to get out of this contain with what he has right now. He's got to do something a little bit more creative. I think he's probably got to get some more race out himself. I don't know if he has his starport out already, though. See Fantasy still trying to do a little bit here. He's probably going to try to inch up a little bit more with those tanks once that one is repaired. It looks like Fantasy is devoting himself to dropships here instead of wraiths, so he's probably going to try to drop Mind's main or his expansion while Mind is away, but that might not be the best thing in the world. And, oh, there's Scouting SUV getting annihilated there. Ah, the life of an SUV is hard. Here comes... both guys are using their barracks to scout here. Mind is bringing his back for whatever reason, building a ton of turrets. So Mind is committing a lot of resources to this contain, and it looks to be successful so far. All he's got to do is just reinforce his tanks, keep Fantasy from pushing up too far, and he'll pretty much have this game because he'll be able to starve Fantasy out of resources while Mind can expand all over the map. Mind can't really get out with his dropships because there are just turrets everywhere now. You see on the mini-map, there's just a nice wall of turrets are sitting around, and where there's not turrets, there are wraiths and tanks. So Mind doing a fantastic job here of boxing Fantasy in. Fantasy is reduced to taking that kind of island expansion behind his base. See, Mind is bringing in more tanks. There's a bunch of vultures up for Fantasy. I don't think this is going to be very successful. As soon as he moves those vultures out, they're probably going to get creamed by the tanks. I'm not really sure what he's planning to do with those. Very nice contain here by Mind. Look at that. All of those vultures just getting completely wiped out. I think Mind definitely has the advantage in this game. All those tanks going down. I don't think Fantasy has any tanks left. I think Mind has pretty much dominated this game. Tons of bunkers there. I do not see Fantasy getting out of this contain. This is pretty much a perfect contain. There are tanks along the edge to take care of these vultures. Nice play here. It looks like Fantasy's going to be able to take out one tank here. Oh, not even getting that tank. So, yeah, I think Mind definitely has a huge advantage here. He's just completely tightening the noose here, is the best way to put it, on Fantasy. Fantasy is desperately trying to push out with vultures, but it's not going to be successful. I mean, come on, vultures versus tanks? Get real. He has Mines here. I'll take out a couple tanks, but it's not going to be enough. Mind is reinforcing his tanks, and he's getting another expansion here. And pretty much, I think he's going to starve Fantasy out soon enough. Mind playing a pretty aggressive contain game here. Much more aggressive than I usually see in a TVT game. Usually see Terrans, just each of them expands a lot, and then about 30 minutes in, they have one big battle, and they get about 10 dropships each. Stuff like that. But we haven't seen a whole lot of dropship play from either player here. Mind committing mostly to wraiths here to keep that barracks away. And doing quite a fair amount of damage with those tanks. Just tons of vultures, tons of tanks going down. And Mind just has SCVs out there to repair his units. So, yeah, these Goliaths aren't going to do very good against us either. I think Fantasy committed to way too many Goliaths if he was going to think about breaking out of this. Because Mind didn't really commit a whole lot to his Wraith squad. He has quite a few Wraiths out there. About 3 is what I see. But yeah, I don't think he's building any more Wraiths. Looks like Fantasy is going to try to do a drop here. I don't think it'll be successful. There are turrets everywhere. And Mind has nice vision there. He's building more turrets. This is definitely not going to be successful. Looks like Fantasy probably spotted those turrets, knew he wouldn't be able to move out. Going to try to go up with vultures. He's moved. He actually got quite a few vultures out here.